Hey, what's going on, everybody? Steve here, Rake and Profit over at rakeandprofit.com, coming back to you with another live video. And in today's video, I'm with my good friend, Jameson Philippi, who has been reselling for over 5 years now. And specifically, he is running for the most part, a retail arbitrage business. Now, over the last 5 years, Jameson has really changed his life. I still remember when he first started, he was, he didn't have a ton of money. I think he might have even been in debt. I'll let him speak to that. But he was really going through some challenges at first. And over the last 5 years, I've seen him evolve greatly, not only financially, but mentally, physically. And he's gone from, literally having no experience reselling to doing over $2 million with retail arbitrage. He's, really changed his life. We actually went to a Tony Robbins seminar not too recently, and it's just a real pleasure to have you here. So what's going on, Jameson?
Hey, what's going on, brother? How you doing?
Fantastic, man. Just staying inside right now, enjoying the day, bringing some value, and really excited to connect with you, man. How is it in New Jersey? Because I know you moved recently from the cold weather and, the area of you were in Minnesota?
Yeah, I was in Minnesota.
Nice.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, it's good over here. I like it. I love it. The winters are good. It was a good transition. I'm happy where I'm at. Retail arbitrage wise, it's been a lot of changes and stuff like that, having to relearn everything and learn new stores and new strategies and stuff like that. But it was a good challenge. So I'm cool. I'm happy with everything.
Awesome, man. Yeah, I can definitely relate moving from Connecticut to Miami now. When you move to a new place, there's always new opportunities, but there's new challenges as well. And you've got to learn the landscape and the lay of the ground. So we'll definitely get into that during this video. But for the most part, we're going to be sharing how you can start a retail arbitrage business. And a lot of this might even parallel over to online arbitrage, because we're going to be sharing with you how to start retail arbitrage, what exactly it is, how much money it costs to get started, some, really good advice for what types of products you should focus on, mistakes you can avoid. And then we're going to dive a little deeper into I'm going to call it the 5-year outlook of retail arbitrage. And we're going to go into Jameson's opinion in terms of what he thinks about over the next 5 years, if people should start this business, or if he'd go back in time, would he do something else? So let's get into the comments and shout some people out right now. We got Fat Elvis. I love that name, saying boom. And then we got R1 coming in with a boom, boom. Is the next one going to be boom, boom, boom? eBay Addicts, thanks for the live stream today. Great to have you in here, eBay Addicts. We got Flint, Michigan in the house saying, love these chats. What's going on? We got Mr. Exquisite. I remember you, brother. He actually showed up to the Connecticut thrifting meetup a couple of months ago.
I like the name.
Yeah, man, he's a really good guy. He's actually in a couple clips of some videos that are going to be coming out. So good to see you here. Mary McQuain in the house, addicted to
hey.
Reminds me of you, Jameson. You are definitely, when I think of addicted to the hustle, you guys should see how Jameson rolls in the real world. He is a hustler. I remember there was one time, this must have been a couple of years ago, and I think we have a video of this. We shot some videos. We put a little red nose on you, and we shot some That's not a joke. If anyone's been following for a while, you know what I'm talking about. But there was one time where I let Jameson stay at my house. And this is back when I was living in Vernon, Connecticut. This was probably 2-3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yeah, you could come over. You could stay, a couple nights. And if you have anything you need to put in the garage, that's fine. I'm thinking like maybe one box or something. No, actually, matter of fact, I think I said you could go into my basement. I don't remember. But all I know is you came back with like hundreds and hundreds of toys. Like you put like 100 trips into my house, and I'm like, what in the world are you doing? Moving in? What happened there?
I remember that. That was around Q4 2016 actually, and I remember I was on my way to your house, and at the time the Pokemon Go, the game, it was like a little bracelet you put on your wrist, had just come out.
Right? You were going to all the Toys R Us and picking those
and I ended up like finding like over 100 of them on my way to your house, and like one store let me buy like 50 from them, and then I merchant fulfilled them out of your garage, and they all sold in like 9 hours. Oh yeah, I remember that. And I had all the plastic bags all over your garage.
All over, man. And then you left all the boxes laying out. No, I'm just kidding. We got Ultron in the house saying, hey, yo, what's up? El Guapo in the house.
Hey.
Yeah, we already know that, Romer. We already know that. Don't you dare say it, Jameson. We've got Addicted to Hustle saying, thanks for putting my comment up. Well, you better enjoy it because that's the last time your comment's going to be put up. No, I'm just kidding. I appreciate you guys watching. So let's get into the show. If anyone has any questions for Jameson, who, again, started his business over 5 years ago, went from nothing. Were you broke at the time when you first got started? Were you in debt? Because I know you were going through some challenges, and you were in the green room at the time, and you were adding so much value to people's lives that I remember you were on your uppity up, and then you hit some snags, which is very normal. When people start a reselling business, it's not typically straight up. Usually you're going up and then boom, like you make mistakes. I know you were going through some stuff, and not to get into anything too personal.
Yeah, I don't mind. Yeah, I don't mind talking about any of it.
Going through some stuff. So do you want to bring us back to 5 years ago, back in the green room? You're just starting off retail arbitrage. Like what happened? What's your story?
Yeah, I remember when I first joined the green room. My roommate borrowed me the money to join. I didn't even have $100 to like join it, and I was living in Nashville at the time. I was sleeping on a yoga mat at my friend's house on the floor because I didn't even have a bed or a job, and I couldn't even get like a job at Walmart. I remember like when I moved to Nashville, I applied at the Fossil store and like Target and Walmart, and I couldn't get a job anywhere. Nobody would hire me. So I was kind of just like hustling on eBay a little bit at the time, like a little bit like video games here and there just to make a couple $100 a month while I tried to find a job. And I wasn't having any luck getting a job. I'd get an interview, but they wouldn't hire. And so I just kept flipping. I was getting really lucky, or, things just worked out right, where I would like keep finding video game lots. I didn't have a lot of money, so I would like buy like a $200 or $300 video game lot, sell it all over a few weeks, then take that money and then rebuy it. And then I just kept doing that. And it's like every time I sold out of that whole lot, I would find another one. And like all the negotiations worked out perfect. And I slowly was able to, like, after a few months, I'm like, I see potential here. I could do this, like, make a living doing this. And that's, I think, right around the time I joined the green room. And then I learned about Amazon, and I tried that out, and it didn't go well. I think I subscribed to a list right off the bat, and I think it was like $60 a month. And it was actually an OA list at the time, but OA wasn't a thing then, and lists weren't really a thing. I bought this list. It didn't work out very well, and I lost some money, and then I just kept on grinding, and things just kept working. And then I built up the business pretty good. I built up my income pretty good. And then I traveled around the country. I think I've been to like 44, 45 states. And yeah, I just was grinding all over the country. That's how we started hanging out more. And then I think we met up in Miami back in 2015-ish, maybe.
Who was that we hung out with again? That crazy dude. He was amazing. He was so loud. And
Donnie Freeze. Dude, yeah. Donnie at Walgreens.
Big shout out to Donnie, man. Donnie was, I remember we went into Walgreens and like he couldn't believe about retail arbitrage. He's like screaming at the top of his lungs.
He's like screaming. I remember that. It was insane. I still talk to him a little bit. Like we're still Facebook friends.
Oh, tell us
He
about
visited me in
That's
Minnesota a few years ago before I moved.
Yeah. Yeah. So we were there. We were in Miami.
Miami,
and
yeah.
definitely starting to. Well, you said you subscribed to some OA lists and whatnot.
Yep, in the very beginning I did. Yeah, they didn't work out very good, or I just didn't know what I was doing. Probably a mixture of both. And then, yeah, I remember when we met in Miami, me and you were both doing RA then. I think we were doing the Barnes & Noble day after Christmas sale and the Walgreens sale because we were
Remember
buying all the toys.
The little lip bombs that we were buying?
Yes.
And merchant fulfilling them until that one dude just came and he'd killed the price on them all.
Yeah, I remember the little purple, the yellow, the pink, all that.
Wow.
So, yeah, it was there as that. And then I traveled the country for a couple of years doing RA and stuff like that. And then I settled down back in Minnesota and then out to Jersey and then back to Minnesota. It's been crazy. Yeah, I built up the business and I overworked myself basically. And then I put like, I'll get into like kind of how I fell down a little bit, but like basically that's a sum up of my story in, a quick few minutes. And then like I ended up moving to Jersey, in 2016. I was staying with Robert B from the Green Room at the time. And then like I like built up my business that year and like I was all like everybody was so competitive with each other, like trying to like outdo each other in sales and finds. And I got caught up in, trying to outdo my friends and like who could work the hardest, who could sell the most, who could find the most. And then we would all send each other pictures to brag. And I got so caught up in that I wanted to outbeat everybody. And so I overworked myself for like a year and a half. All I did was work and all I did was focus on work. And
how much were you working per week, would you say?
100 hours easily.
Wow.
Maybe probably even more, to be honest. Like, I don't even know. It was just like morning to night every day.
When you came to my house, you would just hang out in the basement the whole time, like a little gremlin. You were down there for like 13, 14 hours sometimes just processing. I mean, you were making a lot of money, but keep going.
And now that it's all done and over with, it wasn't worth it. Like, to be honest, that's one thing I wish I could go back and do is that not work so hard. Not like I don't like hard work, but it's not worth it to make a few extra bucks. It wasn't worth it at all.
Do you think there was a smarter way, like looking back now for the people who are just starting off? And we're going to go into what retail arbitrage is and how to get started and how to find products. But for the people who are starting now, who are just hungry to start having success, what would you do differently instead of just going balls to the walls like 10, 15 hours a day? Like, is there is there a better way?
I mean, I like everything I did. I just wish I had more balance. Like more personal time, more enjoy myself, enjoy my body, enjoy me, and then like work hard at the same time. There's no reason you can't balance both. And I didn't have any. I was super unhealthy mentally, physically. Like I said, then I ended up moving to Jersey. I ended up meeting a girl. Things went sour really fast, and that like put me over the edge, like mentally, like just destroyed me. So I focused more on work and travel just to keep my mind healthy, like keep my mind off of things. And that was a bumpy ride for, a little over a year and a half. And we parted ways or whatever. And then like afterwards, I was just like mentally destroyed. Like all I wanted to do, this was back in 2018. My goal that year was to make $1 million, hit $1 million.
Was this before we went to Tony Robbins or was this after?
This was after. So yeah, me and you went to Tony Robbins, San Jose in March of 2018.
Got it.
And that was in the mixture of all this stuff going on. And I remember we went and I remember like, I didn't like it at all. The Tony Robbins event that me and Steve went to, I didn't like it. I didn't like the people. I didn't like people hugging me and touching me and high-fiving me. And like, I think I even remember saying to you, like, there's no way these people are this happy. It's not real.
You enjoyed going around and telling everyone you own them, though.
Yes, we did own them, and we still do. I was not happy with it at all. Like, I didn't like the events. It was just too much. I remember I was sleeping in my chair a lot. I would be texting a lot. I think I walked around the stadium. I would like go to the hotel and take a nap. I mean, I goofed off. Like,
I saw you refreshing your scales every 10 minutes.
Yeah, I was just, my mind wasn't in it. I did learn a lot from it. I did. And then like after it was over, I went back to my pathetic, miserable existence. Selling on Amazon, my numbers were good. On the outside, my life looked fun. I made my social media look fun. I was traveling, eating cool foods, hanging out with cool people. But inside, I was just not happy with who I became and who I was. And I guess long story short, like while the thing with the girl was going on at the same time, I ended up going back home and still miserable, traveling, still miserable. So I think after the Tony Robbins event, it was like a few months later, maybe give or take. And I think I reached out to you and was like, hey, like I want to go again or something. And I remember we bought the tickets right away. And I think we even like committed to the Airbnb like right away too. The one that we had with no internet in it.
Wait, I
And you were like,
remember that.
remember the one in Newark, New Jersey? Remember you were like putting up smoke detector, or you were like on the stool or something. And I was taking videos of
Oh,
you.
yeah, the big house.
Yeah, we had, it was a nice house, but we didn't have any internet.
Drive 2 resellers insane.
Yeah, and we went to like, you know, that event, and that was in November 2018, UPW Tony Robbins. I'm still dealing with all that stuff. Me and the girl had parted ways at this point, but I was still like very, very low and mentally. And we went to that event, and it like really did like that event. I did pay a lot more attention. I put more into it. I was more healthy, more mentally stable, and ready for the event that we went to. And then like I did have a lot of like life changing, like I don't know what you call it. You know, things happen there, but yeah, like a lot of things like connected with me, and I saw things that really I needed to change. And like, you know, we did the thing where they shut off all the lights, the Dickinson's thing. And like, you know, where you figure out your 3 limiting beliefs and like figure out, you know, like what's stopping you from moving forward. And like some of my limiting beliefs were like, you know, the whole thing, I was a drug addict before I started doing Amazon, and I just didn't feel worthy that I deserved any of this. Because I did so many stupid things when I was a drug addict, and I went to rehab, you know, 4 times, and I didn't feel I was worthy of it. So like I would like work real hard, get to a good spot, and then like self-sabotage and bring myself down, work real hard. And every time I did something good or successful, I would like kind of beat myself up and like ruin it. And it was a mixture of that. And then just like relationship wise, I never felt like I was like worthy to be with like a good quality girl. So I put myself in toxic relationship and like around, you know, and it was just a lot of things that stem from childhood. But long story short, we left the event. I know me and you parted ways. And then like after the event, like that thing that we did, the Dickinson process, like put me in like probably the worst depression I've ever been in my life. After you left, I kind of went ghost. I think I kind of like didn't talk to you for like a week or something. I didn't talk to anybody. I just kind of like minimized who I was talking to, because I was just like in an extremely, extremely deep hole at that time mentally. And like I just after the event, I was just like to the point where I was just like I couldn't handle the stress, everything I've done in my life. I was miserable. You know, there was nothing I was grateful for. I didn't love myself. I just hated who I was. And I was staying with Sean at the time from the green room, Sean Patrick. And I left his house that night, and I told him I was going to go to the gym, but I had no intentions really to go to the gym. And I just drove around for like an hour or two, and I was just like F this. I just don't want to do this anymore. Like I'm not happy. I don't want to live. I don't want to be here anymore. And so I actually like was driving around thinking about this, and I ended up driving to the George Washington Bridge, and I was just like, I can't do this anymore. I don't want to be around. I'm just not happy. I don't know how to make all this pain and hurt and all this like going on in my brain. I just like couldn't handle living anymore. I had nothing that I was excited for. I wasn't happy with who I became. And I drove to the bridge, and like I was like, remember I was like driving, I had my hand on the wheel, and I was just like I just like I just like I don't know, I can't even explain it. It was just like such an awakening. I just like was like I don't want to live like this anymore. But I was like I didn't have like I guess for me, I don't know this, and I hope I don't offend anybody here. For me, I wasn't like strong enough to like end my life, if that makes sense. Like I couldn't do it. I was too scared. Even though I didn't want to live, I just didn't have it in me to do it. And so I said, okay, you know, what am I going to do to change my life? You know, I have to do something. And so I ended up leaving New York, went back to Minnesota. I had been working with a mentor for a couple of years, but we stopped working together because I just was having a bad year, and I wasn't getting the value out of it because I wasn't putting in the work. You know, I was paying for it for a little bit, and I was like, I'm not doing the work. I'm not challenging myself. So I said, I just want to take a break because it wasn't worth the money that I was spending on him. And then I hit him back up again. I'm like, hey, I don't want to, I can't do this anymore. Like, I want to hire you again. I want to change my life. I need to like get out of this state. So I went back to Minnesota. I rehired him. And basically, I got back to Minnesota, and the place that I was living at was a place that I shared with the girl. She was gone already, but I was still in the same house, which was insanely miserable to go to bed in the same bed every night, that we slept in together, the same house, even like using the same silverware and like coffee cups and stuff. It just like would always bring back the bad memories, or just like toxic mind, and it was just physically, mentally exhausting. So me and my mentor talked, and we made a plan, and we made some goals, and he held me accountable, and I was like, I'm leaving Minnesota. And I researched everywhere I wanted to go, and like I just feel gravitated towards the East Coast, New York. And so I put everything in place, and over a couple of months, I figured things out with my landlords, got out of my lease. I sold everything in my house, either sold it, donated it, and the stuff that wasn't either donatable or sellable, I threw in the garbage. Funny thing is that when I did leave, I don't know if anyone's ever sold Wii Fit boards on eBay or Amazon.
These are so annoying.
I had like 30 of those. I'm not even kidding you, like 30 of them. And I brought them to the Goodwill, and they wouldn't even take them. They're like, no, we have enough of those. We can't take them.
There's a million of them there, yeah.
I sold them to another, so I put up a big giant lot, like 4 or 5 boxes of just random Guitar Hero, random video game controllers, and I threw them in there, and I sold like a whole, like probably 2 carloads full of stuff to a guy that was a reseller. And when he came, we started talking, and like we started talking about reselling, and he was like, he watched your videos and stuff like that, and he watched Bonafides and stuff like that. And then I think once we talked, he was like, oh yeah, he's like, I think I saw you on some of his videos too. So I sold all that to a reseller. So hopefully he made money on. I know he made money on it, because like the wall was good, but just Wii Fit boards. But yeah, so I left Minnesota. I basically got rid of everything. I just was like, I need to change my life. And that was over like a 3-month period. I started working out more, exercising, eating right. I ended up losing like 35 pounds over like a 5-month period or whatever, just like eating right, drinking tons of water, juicing like crazy, reading, listening to audiobooks. And I really just spent like 4 months just really just trying to like regrow and like build a better like self-love, self-worth thing for me. I got rid of everything in Minnesota, drove to the East Coast, settled down, and I found a really good place that I live at in New Jersey. And I started off here fresh and pretty much built everything back up. In that mix of that, between the end of 2018 until when I moved out to Jersey back in April, May of last year, I didn't really work. I was just so, trying to fix me and just work on myself, that I kind of neglected the business. So when I moved out to New Jersey, like I went from like selling, like 40K a month in sales to selling 7-8K a month in sales, because I wasn't really doing any work. And then when I moved out here, I had to regrind back from the beginning again. And it was very tough to do so because my funds were low. And it took me, I got lucky on a couple good. I moved out here right away. I did a little bit of like liquidation of store closings and stuff like that. Found some really good, I transitioned a lot from Minnesota is very good for Targets, Walmarts, GameStops, and stuff like that. So when I moved to the East Coast, Targets and Walmarts in New Jersey are not very good for finding retail arbitrage products. So I had to learn new stores. I built some good relationships with local managers to local stores, found new stores to shop at, and basically just kind of rebuilt back up. And I'm starting to build things back up again to where I'm doing pretty good. And I have a very happy, healthy life balance where I enjoy my life, have fun, and then I also kick butt and work hard too. So yeah, in a nutshell, that's kind of what's going on in my world.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you being so transparent. And there's a lot of people in the comments who appreciate it. R1, J1 Lissus, thank you for being so transparent about the tough times in your life. You are an inspiration going through some of this stuff myself. And that's the thing. And we're going to dive into what retail arbitrage is and the model. But this is a very valuable lesson. And, a lot of people talk about it saying, money doesn't buy happiness. And it's true. Money is a resource. Money can definitely help you, and you can use it for a lot of great things. Help your family, to travel, to have some nice things in your life, to experience some awesome things. But money's not going to buy happiness. And I could definitely relate as well, man. I still remember when I first started my business, and seems like that's all I did. And, it came to the point where I was feeling like crap mentally and physically. And, I went through some spouts of depression and just, it's the isolation of it all, being a reseller and by yourself. And, we need to find a purpose that's much deeper than just making money. So very valuable lessons, man. Glad you moved on and you grew from there. And
thank you, brother. Thank you.
I really respect your work-life balance that you've adopted as of late. So with that being said, we have another comment saying, thank you for your transparency and vulnerability, Jameson. Honored to hear your story. Glad to hear your headspace is clear. Very cool.
Thank you.
This is a funny comment. We call university. You guys are in the same apartment. Why do you have a divider on the screen? He must think you're Romer the Romer.
He wishes.
Yeah, I wish he was here right now. But let's get into it. Let's get into the meat and potatoes of this video, and let's first define what exactly is retail arbitrage. What is your business model? What do you exactly do, Jameson?
Meat and potatoes. I never heard that before. All right. So retail arbitrage. Basically, I buy stuff from like Target and Walmart's, Barnes and Noble, GameStop, and other local stores around here. I buy products from them cheaper than what I can sell them for on Amazon. So I'll go to these stores and I'll scan the barcodes using my Amazon seller app, and then I'll look at all the data, and it'll tell me, if I can make money on that product, and if I can, then I'll figure out how many of that item I want to buy, and then I ship it off into Amazon, and then once the customer buys it, Amazon will ship it to the customer. That's, I guess, in a nutshell what I do.
Yes. Yeah. So you go to retail stores. What are some of the stores that you go to? Like, what are some common stores?
I do Targets and Walmart's, Ollie's, GameStop, Kmart's. I mean, Kmart's are starting to die out, so there's not really many left, but Kmart's
still around.
We have a few left, but they're in the process of closing right now. So, Kmart's. When Toys R Us was hot, that was like my best store ever. So when Toys R Us closed, I had to definitely do a lot of transition.
Did you cry when they closed? Be honest.
I didn't cry, but like a little part of my soul just like crumbled. Like, I think that's the reason why like my life hasn't like made sense. No, I was kidding. I was pretty bummed. I was pretty bummed when it closed. I really was.
Interesting. So you go to all these retail stores and you've got the Amazon seller app, which is a free app. You've got it equipped on your phone. You go in there. And are you going only after clearance items, or what's your strategy? Like, what advice would you give? I mean, maybe, I guess, let's start with like, what do you exactly do? And then we'll give advice to the people. But what's your strategy when you walk into a store? Are you bringing in coupons? Are you researching it online and then going in? Like, what's your mindset? Like, how do you know what to go after, and where do you start in a store?
I do. So like, I'll use Target as an example. Target, I'm in their ads all the time. They have their cartwheel or whatever you call it, Target Circle or whatever that's called. They'll have different coupons in there every week. I'll take a look at those. I even take advantage of like buying discounted Target cards. Like if you have a Target like credit card, you get 5% off your purchase all the time, which is nice extra discount. Yeah. But if you can buy discounted Target gift cards online from like, Gift Card Granny, Ray's, and whatever. There's like 10 million websites.
How discounted can you get
them? They generally run 4 to 10%, just depending on the time of the year, time of the month, and availability. So I generally buy a lot at 7%, which isn't like a ton above 5, but when you're spending a lot of money there, that extra 2% difference makes a big deal. So that that gives me an extra couple percent margin over the next seller. I can lower my price a few extra percent lower than that seller on Amazon and still make, the profit that I'm looking to make. I take advantage of coupons if there are any. Mostly discounted gift cards is the main thing, and then sales. And then I learn how to stack the sales properly. Sometimes Target will run like, you spend $100 on toys, you'll get $25 off. And then I'll stack an extra coupon or a discounted gift card. And then that way that'll give me my best price. And then I'll ship it off into Amazon.
Very cool. Fat Elvis Good says Big Lots. Do you ever source from Big Lots?
Yeah, a couple times a year. I've gone to Big Lots. I like Big Lots. They sell. You can find really rare, old, discontinued toys there. So I do like Big Lots for that.
One of the most educational, inspirational comments I've seen so far from Resell University is meat and potatoes and nutshells. You guys are hungry. Only on YouTube. Only on YouTube. R1J1 is asking, is there a minimum amount to ship of each product to Amazon? So thanks, Jules. So you go to Ollie's, you pick up a bunch of items. Is there a minimum amount of these items that you're looking for to ship them off, or are you combining different products in the box?
Like right now for shopping, like I always have a lot, so I'm not too worried about it. But like when I was starting out and I wasn't very good at finding products, I would wait until I got, maybe like 30 or 40 or 50 items, give or take in that ballpark. So that way I could at least fill up a whole box and not be shipping out one or two items to Amazon. So I would wait until I could fill up a couple boxes and then I would ship it out and then continue to shop and source.
How do you analyze a deal before you buy it? So you go into Ollie's, Big Lots. I was going to say Toys R Us, but I heard they're coming back, right? Isn't Toys R Us coming back?
We have one in Jersey. I haven't been to it yet. It's like a smaller scale, but I haven't checked it out yet.
So what are the things that you're looking for on the app when you scan a product? So let's just say, for example, I don't know, got this little lion poster right here.
You're going to bring out a plant or something.
So you've got this pen and you scan the barcode, right? You scan the barcode of this. Let's just say let's just pretend this is a board game, right? It's a lion board game. We're going to get it for Reseller University. So say this is for $14.99 and you scan the barcode. What are the elements within the Amazon seller app that you're looking for to determine whether you're going to buy this item or not?
So basically, when I scan an item, I'll see what like my return is after Amazon fees and shipping. And then I'll also see how fast the item sells. I'll look at the rank. So toys could be ranked anywhere from like 1 to 1 million, and basically depending on what the rank says for that item, that you can kind of figure out how fast that item is going to sell. I use another software called Keepa. I pay for that. I think it's like $17 a month, and I can kind of figure out how many will sell a month or whatever, and then I can kind of make my decision off of that. So if there's maybe like 2 or 3 of the board games, or 10 or 50, then I can figure out how many of those board games I want to buy. Generally, my model is where I like to stick to faster moving items, where that I can just clear the shelf of that item, and I don't mind making like I'll take a a better ROI if I find it, but I go for like medium to lower ROI, but where I can move a lot of product, because people don't generally want to mess with that, because they're worried it's going to tank or whatever. So I just kind of like try to make up for things in volume wise. So there's so many factors that go into it, but like. When I was starting out, I would just like, now that there's so many softwares and different things, people have a lot more information. So if they started Amazon today, like they have so much more available to them to learn this and figure out how many products to buy, what to buy, and where to buy them, as opposed to when we started 5 years ago when there was like no information. We had to basically trial and error everything. There wasn't courses. There wasn't like Guru wasn't a thing back then. There wasn't.
I'm not the Guru.
Yeah, for real. So we had to just trial and error it back then. I would buy it and sell and just keep doing it and learn as I went. And then I kind of learned how to do it. But now there's so much information. I mean, there's like probably like 5 billion YouTuber resellers out there now that you can watch and learn from. Yeah. I mean, there's tons of softwares. I guess anyone that hasn't started, that's looking to start, like I have friends like that I know in the Tony Robbins world that are trying to get into Amazon, and sometimes and they'll ask me, like, oh, I saw this course here. What do you know? They'll ask me like they'll say, this guy's selling a course. What do you know about him? And I'll say like, hey, don't mess with that course. Don't mess with that guy. He's not legit, blah, blah, blah. And I'll tell them the same thing. Like, just sign up for Amazon, start with what like sell products that you're comfortable with, familiar with. Like, I started with toys and video games. I knew the video game market, so I started with that. So I felt comfortable with that, and I grew and then expanded into other categories. That's what I'll tell anybody that's starting now is like sell stuff you're familiar with. Like if you're into makeup and lipstick and stuff like that, maybe you could start in that
And
category.
why is that important to start with something that you know? I mean, it's kind of obvious, like you probably have a better chance of succeeding, but what would give you a better chance of succeeding? Just because you like kind of have a feel for what sells, what doesn't, you understand like the product more? Like why start with something that you know versus just learning the analytics or the data?
Yeah, it's a lot of that too. And it's like you probably might know like what's a good brand, what's a good quality. Sometimes I know with like, with video games and toys, and I think even with makeup too, they'll have like a limited run of a certain shade, or a certain brand will release a summer product or something like that. Like they'll have a limited run, and that may be more sought after, so that might be, those might be good products. So yeah, it's just like, and then you can expand easily into any other product, but like just start where you're comfortable. Because if you start where you don't even know, if you're like, start with you have no use or nothing to know about tools, and you start with tools, you're going to get overwhelmed, like, and not know what to do. So like start where you're comfortable, and then you can kind of expand and learn from there. Because like once you get that momentum going, then you'll feel more comfortable when you expand and learn.
Awesome, Jameson. Thank you. How much money do you need to get started with retail arbitrage? And I know this is somewhat of like a loaded question because it's probably going to depend upon your goals and how fast you want to make money. Are you doing it full-time, part-time? What are your goals, like I mentioned? But what would you say is the minimum amount of money that someone could get started with, and maybe over a 6 to 12 month period, build this into an income that maybe makes them $1,000 a month or $2,000 a month?
Yeah. I mean, for like, I would suggest that you start with like a small $1 million loan from your parents.
At a 50% interest rate.
No, I mean, like, I'll just use myself as an example. I didn't have a job or much money, besides like flipping a couple things on eBay. So I started with next to nothing, and like you can start with anything. You can start with stuff. Like I know like there's a lot of changes in Amazon, but like you could start if you don't have much money or anything, you could start on eBay and like, sell stuff from garage sales and around the house, because that's what I would start at. Start with stuff you have around your house. You could throw that stuff on eBay, get a little bit of money, and then you can go buy Amazon product or whatever. I would like optimize both platforms in the beginning. But yeah, you could start with anything, like $5, 10, like if you don't have much, like, you can start with pretty much nothing and just, kind of build your way up. But, if you do have a little more money, it's probably a little bit better. But just make sure you're like learn the knowledge, you learn as you go. Because like you could have, 50 grand to load into products and not know what you're doing. And you could just get your butt kicked and buy the wrong products, buy the wrong thing, and you could lose, so make sure you're like ready to buy the products and you know what you're doing and you have an understanding. But, like also like if anyone's ever thinking of starting, if you are going to buy a course from anybody, like just make sure you do your research on the person selling the course. Like I'm a big believer in is you can't give what you don't have. So I've never sold $1 million in 1 year on Amazon. So if I put out a course and I said, hey, I'm going to teach you how to sell $1 million in a year on Amazon, I can't do that. I've never done it. So just make sure, like, if you ever do that, like, make sure you're buying from someone who's done it. But just be careful with that because you can learn on your own YouTube videos for free. Reagan's got 1 billion YouTube videos. I know we've done at least 10 or 20 videos on how to prep shipments and stuff like that. Like, there's so much free info out there that you could start slowly in the beginning and just learn for free. So just be careful. That's just a lot of people out there that will take advantage of you.
Yeah, great advice. And I always say, find one person or find two people that you want to follow advice from. There's a lot of good information out there. There's a lot of bad information out there. Most people are good people trying to help. But yeah, definitely do your research and, it's not all about like finding the person who's making the most money as well. Like you want to find somebody that you connect with. And that's not just for courses, but for mentors, for, books that you want to read and stuff, all because I enjoyed a book. You might hate it, right? Because you just don't connect with that author's writing style, so on and so forth. Do you remember Carter Maxwell?
Carter Maxwell.
It
sounds familiar.
He came to a green room event in Austin, Texas. He was like 16 years old. He came with his mom. This is the first year that Jason Clark had come out, and I don't know if you were there or not. I think
I was there. I only missed the very first year, and last year. But I think I was there for like 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah. Either way, he's a OG in the green room, and he's gone on to do some great things. I think he's got a YouTube channel now, over 10,000 subscribers.
Dang, young guy. Nice. Congrats. So
great to have you in here, Cardle. Ninja Carter. Nakeem wants to know our sales, and we're not going to say any keywords that are going to get us in trouble. But Nakeem's asking, are sales for you slowing down to what's going due to what's going on today, the last couple of weeks? I would guess they're probably going up, but I don't know. You tell me.
They've been slow the last week. They're a lot lower than they have been. Like I'm just looking at my Amazon app right now. Like I'd say for the last like 7 days, my sales are probably 30-40% less every day. I do have like 1 or 2 products that are like I'm not selling a ton of toys right now. And like once they put that cut off, like I had a lot of stuff that I needed to get out. I was able to get like a few boxes out like the night before, so that was nice. But right now I'm selling just 1 or 2 products that are kind of like keeping me afloat, that I'm making a decent profit on. But right now everything is really, really low for the most part. My sales are almost tanked, but
is the post office open still, like UPS?
Yeah. I did a UPS pickup this week. I actually started flipping. I started listing a couple things on eBay, so I did drop a couple things off for eBay the other day. And the post office was still open. So,
okay, cool, very cool. Mr. Exquisite asking Jameson, how are you dealing with FBA shipments right now? Are you keeping all your product that you have and waiting to send in, or selling fulfillment by merchant?
So the day before they announced the not sending stuff in, I was able to, like, over that couple day period, I was able to fill up like 8 boxes. So that really, really helped. And then the next morning I woke up, I still had my shipment open. And I was like, I woke up the next morning, I was kind of excited. I was like, I'm hoping they'll still let me list because I already have an open shipment. I was like praying that I could still continue to list, because then I would list all the stuff, but then it like wouldn't let me. So I just ended the shipment. I had UPS come to pick like 8 boxes. And then basically from then to now, I just started sourcing, more like beauty products like that are, essential, but not like, so I sent in a little bit of that. That's selling all right. But it's going to be the month will be tough. Like I won't lie. Like my sales are going to be, they're going to get like with not being able to send stuff in for 3 weeks. That's going to crush like really bad. That's going to be, 80% of my income for the next month is going to be gone. So right now I listed a few things on eBay. When I have time, I will probably jump into the merchant FBM a little bit if I can make a decent ROI. But if not, I'll just have to wait it out, and just the day we're allowed to ship in, just like hit like a 24-hour session and just get a ton of stuff out.
Share with everyone before this question that's on the screen. What is FBM and how does that work?
FBM is fulfillment by merchant. If you've ever sold on eBay, it's kind of like the same thing without having to take photos of the item. Basically, you just list it on Amazon as a merchant. And once the item sells, then you'll, put the item in an envelope or a box, and then you'll slap your label on from Amazon, and then you'll drop it off at UPS or the post office. So you're just fulfilling the item yourself instead of having Amazon fulfill it like I normally do.
Okay, cool. Let's keep on track with more evergreen questions. And at the end, we can cover some, some strategy that you're implementing now with what's happening and whatnot. But what do you like most about the retail arbitrage model for the folks who are interested in, starting to go to Walmarts and Targets and flipping stuff on Amazon? What do you enjoy most about it?
To be honest, I actually enjoy the hunt. Like it kind of reminds me, I don't know, this is kind of a weird, this is probably a dumb comparison.
Crazy that's going to happen.
Like, I don't know if like when I was a kid, like, for Easter, like we didn't have a ton of money, but my mom would still get me the little plastic eggs and throw some candy in there and hide them around our apartment. And then she would like tell me if I'm hot and cold or if I'm close to them. And like looking for those as a kid, like it was like a hunt, like a treasure hunt, like it like was so amazing. Even though there was like, it was just jelly beans or something in them, it was still so fun to do. So that almost kind of reminds me of that, doing this. So when I go into a Target, it's like I'm doing the same thing, like a treasure hunt, but instead of like jelly beans, I'm getting cash. Wow, I don't know. I love the hunt. I don't know why.
You're like a little kid, man. I've gone out with you before. You love it. I've never really seen you, even when we've gone out for long days, I've never seen you complain. I mean, maybe like you get a little pissed off, like, darn, like we're going out to all these stores, like what's happening? Or I guess the one time I only saw you get a little frustrated You weren't even that mad. It was the time we went to that Target and you had like so many items, and they're like, "You're a reseller. You can't buy anything."
Kicked out.
Tell everyone about how you got kicked out of. I'm gonna put a banner on the screen. The day Jameson got booted from.
Yeah,
Target.
so I have a love-hate relationship with Target. If anybody's like Facebook friends with me or follows me on Instagram, like I always post like a lot of stuff about Targets because I have such a love-hate relationship with them. I've only been kicked out of Target like maybe like 3 times in
I
like
witnessed one.
5 years, and you witnessed the first time. I remember this. This was for what sale was it?
Was it those little green things we were buying?
The Oregon Trail games, yes. Yes. I want to say it was like a buy two get one free on the board games, or it was like a spend No, I think it might have been spend $100.
Spend 100, and then what do you get? Like 50 or something?
You get $25 off, but you had to do separate transactions. So every $100 you spent to get the 25 off, you'd have to do multiple transactions to save the 25 on each one. And I loaded up like 5 or 6 transactions. I had my little plastic like divider in between each one. And I think I did like a couple of them. And then the manager came over and was like, "No, what are you doing? You're allowed to do this. Is one per person, per family, per household, per day. You're out of here." And so they told me to leave, and I wasn't able to like get all of my products that I wanted. But yeah, we were chasing the Oregon Trail games at that time. I remember that, the green boxes.
That's funny. I want to know, has anybody ever been kicked out of Target? Leave a comment down below. I'd be curious. eBay Addicts is laughing. I only got kicked out 3 times.
3 times, honestly, is very low for how much I've shopped at Target over the last 5 years. Because Target, I'd say, is probably was a very good, like, big part of my like buying, that I was doing for RA. So 3 times is very low for like probably the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of stores that I've been to around the country.
Are you done?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. I
was reading her question while I was talking.
Yeah. So T's asking, how do you avoid IP claims when you buy from stores like Walmart?
I love that question. All right. This is honestly, for me, I think is probably a tip that people probably do not share. And this is the best way that I avoid IP claims. So if I go to what I've learned about doing RA is that I stick to brands that I know. I try not to venture out into new brands, not that I'm like willing to learn or anything like that. But if I do venture out into a new brand that I'm not familiar with, first, I would make sure you're in a lot of free Facebook groups, FBA ones. And what I do is I'll go into each one of those Facebook groups that I'm in, and I will type that brand name into the search category while I'm in that group. And if anyone else has ever talked about that brand, a post will pop up. If no posts pop up, that means nobody's talked about it. And that means it's less likely that there's an IP out for that. And I'll even jump into Google and I'll type in brand name, IP claims, Amazon. And sometimes the forums will pop up. I'll use this as an example. I was at Target. I was in Dallas, Texas, back in January. And I was at Target and I was walking through the health and beauty section. I saw an item, an end cap full of items. There was probably 25 of them. And the retail on this item was $55. They were on clearance for $25. And they were selling for $50 on Amazon. And they were an amazing rank. Like I sold them all in like 3 days. And I'd never sold the brand. I wasn't familiar with it. So I jumped onto Facebook, typed in brand name, IP claim. I went into all the Facebook groups. I went onto Google. And after it took me a little while because I wanted to make sure. After like 20 minutes of research, which was worth the time, I ended up deciding, yes, I'm going to buy this brand. I've never heard of this brand, but I'm going to go for it because I can't find anything on it. And then also another tip too is when you do find a brand that you're not familiar with, go jump on the Amazon listing and see who's selling it. If there's one FBA seller or one merchant fulfilled seller, look on the back of that box. Look at the LLC, look at the brand name, and see if that brand name company is on the listing. If they're on the listing, there's probably a better chance than not that you're going to get hit with an IP claim. So avoid that. That's another way to avoid. And then also the Facebook thing is huge. That's how I've been in the last year. I've probably been hit with maybe 1 or 2 IP claims, and I sell like 25,000 items a year.
Do you mind sharing some free Facebook groups that people could join that are just like primarily like retail arbitrage or Amazon that you're active in?
Um, Gosh, I don't. The main one that I would suggest joining, I don't remember the name of it, but I know it has the word FBA and suspension in it. It's like a suspension group where people talk about being suspended or getting IP claims.
Let me see if
It's a free group. I don't remember what it's called, but that's a really, really, really. That's probably one of my favorite free groups to be in because they talk more they talk about a lot of the Amazon terms of service, things that are going on in the community. If someone got suspended, they might talk about it.
small group. I see Amazon seller suspensions, reinstatement, legal issues, and IP. 450 members.
Let me see real quick. Actually, I'll look it up right now. FBA suspension.
Because this is huge. Because if you guys don't understand what an IP claim is, it's essentially when your account gets. It's almost like it's like a ding against your account. If you get too many of them, you'll get suspended.
Oh, here
right?
it is. The Facebook group is called Amazon Seller Performance Suspensions, Rights Owner Legal Issues. There's 31,000 people in the group. I love that group. I've learned so much from that group.
Okay.
Just reading comments and posts, and you really can kind of get an understanding of what brands to avoid. So like I have a huge, I didn't write the list down, but like in my head, I have a huge list of brands not to mess with on Amazon. And I've learned a lot from that group. That's a really good group that I would recommend joining.
Awesome. Very cool. Midwest Picker is saying, good advice, Jameson. Do you use the Walmart app to scan UPCs at Walmart for hidden clearance items?
Yeah, I've been doing that for probably like 4 years now. Yeah, I remember I started doing that many, many years ago before anyone knew about that. Yeah, so basically, if I'm in the video game section, I do a lot of video games at Walmart. So I'll go to Walmart, and if you see all the video games are locked up in a case, usually, I'll jump on the Walmart Wi-Fi because that'll make sure you log into that store's pricing. You jump on the Walmart app, and then I'll go through and Walmart will have the price of the game say $59.99. And then there'll be a Walmart barcode on that same thing. And I'll scan it with the Walmart app while the game is in the case. So here's the game, and I'm scanning it through the glass. And then it'll scan the item, and it'll tell me that price of that item for that store. Now it says $59.99, but sometimes it'll ring up for $5, $10, $20, whatever. And then I can jump on Amazon and see if I can make any money on that. And so also in my head, I have a really big list of games that I know are marked down at nationwide around the country. And I spent like 3 years learning that system, how to do that. And so I know a lot of games that are marked down when I go to Walmart because of that.
Can we share the story? And feel free to say, no, Steve, we can't cover this right now live. But do you mind sharing the story where you were going to all the Walmarts and weren't you picking up games for like a couple pennies or something? Wasn't that you?
Yeah. So
is it okay to share that?
Yeah, I don't mind. This was a couple years ago. So this was the beginning of 2018. I was in North Carolina on a sourcing trip, just outside of Fayetteville, I think. I think that's in North Carolina. Pretty sure. I don't remember, but I think that's where I was. Was at a Walmart, and I saw a game that was profitable. Like I'd sold it on Amazon, and I knew it was good. And I double checked the price using the Walmart scanning app, and it came up as 3 cents. And I was like, this isn't right. This game's not 3 cents. There was like 30 copies of this game there. I'm like, there's no way this is 3 cents. And I asked the guy that was working seemed really cool. So I went up and talked to him like, yo, what's going on with the games? And he was like, yeah, Walmart did a nationwide markdown. Basically, if the game is marked at 3 cents, technically they're supposed to mail it back to the distributor or whatever. But he says that, most stores just don't care. They'll sell it for 3 cents. He was like, yeah, a lot of games have been marked down to 3 cents. You just got to figure out which ones.
Let me stop you. What is going on? Are you having like a mixture between an orgasm and, I don't know, the feeling you get right before you eat an amazing meal? I don't know. What's going on?
Have you ever ran into a wall head first? Okay, because it felt nothing like that at all. It was the complete opposite.
But I just can't imagine
bro, even talking about it now, I'm getting excited. Like I have goosebumps just talking about I get the excitement, the treasure hunt excitement, even talking about it. And so I was like, holy crap. And I started to scan more and I found more. And over that couple of weeks, I wouldn't go into every Walmart. I wouldn't buy hundreds of games at every store. they may not carry them. And it was a mixture of a lot of things, but overall, like, while I went to shop at Walmart for my normal stuff, I would go check for these items. But I was finding, like, I was finding games for 3 cents that I would sell for $10, and after fees, I would get like $7, and that's a good return. I even found some really, really rare games where, like, I would find for 3 cents that would sell for 100. It was like a couple rare 3DS games, but over that, like, probably I'd say from 2018 in the beginning to the end, as towards the end of the year, the games got less and less and less and less. But yeah, it was a good run. I found a lot of games. It was fun. It was exciting to go to new Walmarts and look for the game. I think after I had a 3-week head start where I made a huge list of this stuff. I had hundreds of games that I was looking for 3 cents. And then, Slick Deals. I don't know if you heard of Slick Deals.
Yep.
They found out about it and they put it out there. And then I think like Cheap Ass Gamer on Twitter and Instagram. I don't know if you guys follow them. They're like video game savvy people. They put it out there. So after a few weeks, people found out about it. But my list was so extensive. It was way bigger than theirs. So I could still find games throughout the year, but it got like less and less and less. But it was still like an awesome run. It was awesome. That made Walmart really fun that year.
That's awesome.
Actually, I got one more story to add. I'll share you a quick story that happened to me and one that happened to a friend too. So towards the end, in the middle, like I would like, some of I would like buy the game for 3 cents. I remember I was at one store. This might have been in St. Paul, Minnesota, I think. And I went to self-checkout because the regular line was like way, way long, like extremely long. And I didn't want to wait in line. So I went to self-checkout and the games were locked in the security thing. But you could still scan the game and then set it off to the side. And I scanned, probably 6 or 7 games, scanned all of them in. They were all 3 cents. It came up to like 20 cents, 18 cents. I don't even remember. And I scanned all of them in and I paid for it. And then I was done. And then I was like, hey, can you remove the games out of the case? And she's like, okay, let me see your receipt. And I gave her the receipt to show her that I paid for it. And she's like, wait, this isn't right. What did you do? Did you scam the system? Why are these games ringing out for 3 cents? And then she went and told the manager on me, and the manager came over, and she's like, no, he's got to return those. She's like, this is an employee. She's flipping out.
No.
The manager there is just like, he's looking at me and looking at her kind of like, yo, girl, chill out. Like, it's not that big of a deal. And he came over to me. He's like, yeah, don't worry about it. You're good. He's like, yeah,
he's a thief. He's a thief. He hacked the system.
Yeah, but she was like stuck on me, like doing some like magician trickery to like the prices. It was cool. He's like, yeah, I know some things are going up for 3 cents. He's like, go ahead, you're good. I'm sorry. Like, peace out. He took the games out of the case and then I left. But I had another friend. He shared this with me in 2018 when this happened. That I think he went to self-checkout too, and he like paid for the games. And I believe they like checked his receipt too, but they saw it and they weren't cool with it, and they called the police on him.
No.
Yeah, and the police showed up. I don't remember. This was like, he told me this a couple years ago, and when it happened, he told me right away, and I was just like, wow. We were dying, just like, wow. And the police came, they showed up, they looked at the receipt, they checked everything, like, yeah, we can't do anything, but you're not allowed in the store anymore. Don't come back.
Wait, you're not allowed in the store anymore?
Yeah, I guess like Walmart didn't want him to come back, and the police said, don't. I don't know. It was like, like, all right, cool. But yeah, that was a fun time.
Yeah,
miss those days.
We got our main man and one of your mentors, good friends, Jason Clark, in the comments, referencing Carter Maxwell, who was in the comments earlier. And I had referenced Jason Clark. I didn't know he was here. Cool. Good to see you, Jason. The guy who gave you what did he give you for Christmas? And it was on the video. What did he give you?
A box of rocks and garbage.
Jason says Carter showed that being young is not a barrier to success. It's your mentality and desire to achieve in life that will win out in the end, because the only ceilings in life are in your head. Grind. That's amazing. And, I give a lot of credit to Jason, because I still remember when he was first, I don't know if he was new to the business, but he was still, in that growth mode, and he's come real far over the years.
Oh, wow.
He's been killing it. So.
Dang. So I just want to share. This is cool. So my friend just texted me. This is a humble brag here. Somebody from a journalist reached out to me yesterday through I forget. I don't even know how to pronounce their name. Reuter. I don't even remember.
They reached out to you?
Yeah, to talk about, because they wanted to talk to somebody who had an Amazon loan who basically can't send anything in, but they still wanted the payment or whatever. And so they reached out to me, and I just like, yeah, blah 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 blah. I talked to them, and then they posted the article on Yahoo Financial today. But it looks like Amazon just announced that they are. Wait, oh my god, I don't know. Hold on, I'll have to read this after.
Hold on. Are they going to forgive your loan, or maybe not charge you interest on it while
I don't
while
know. I don't know what the heck. My friend's like rambling on. I didn't even read the rest of it. I don't know. I'll have to check at it later.
Cool. I'm just looking to see if we have any more questions. If you guys are enjoying this video, though, be sure to smash that like button. It helps to get this video out to more people, and hopefully this video can inspire some people to start their business or learn some really good tips. I love that tip about going into the Facebook groups and looking up the brand names before, to avoid getting the IP claims, which are essentially intellectual property claims. That is it companies that are putting those towards you, or is it other sellers? It's companies, right?
It can be other companies, yeah, and it has been other sellers too. But mostly other companies are just like people that they hire. Some companies will hire people to like go after sellers or send them threatening emails or stuff like that. So yeah, it's mostly companies though. Yeah.
Yeah. eBay Addicts wants to know, what percentage of your items, Jameson? No, what percentage of your income do you reinvest to buy more inventory? So say you're doing, 40,000 in sales, typically on average, you were saying, when things are going well as of late, on $40,000 in sales, how much will Amazon typically pay you? What, like 30 or 20?
Yeah, right around there. Sorry, I got stuck reading Torrance comments. Did you see them?
Yeah, let's put that up there right now. I don't know which comment is funnier, that one or why are you interviewing yourself in the mirror? But say you get like a 20 grand payout every couple of weeks or so, how much of that are you reinvesting back into products? Is it as much as you can find?
Yeah, as much as I can find generally, yeah.
Okay. Got it. So here's an interesting, bitches be flipping. I have a feeling this is going to be an interesting comment. I'm not even reading it. Mine was a guy though, and it was over coupons. I was getting so much free stuff with coupons. He had a panic attack, and someone had to come and replace him so he could calm down. I don't know if that's true or not. Torrance saying I'm slacking. I am. I'm definitely slacking. Jameson's looking a lot cleaner with the Mr. Clean. Is that who it is? Who's the guy with the shaved head and it's on like the little cleaning bottle? Is it Mr. Clean? Is that what they call him?
Yeah, that's what they call me.
Ooh. So another Reseller University is just dropping bombs today, educational bombs. Jameson is nervous because he has a man crush. Wicked. Is this true? Do you have a man crush on me, Jameson?
It's more of like an obsession. No.
I'm in your window right now.
I'm in your apartment right now.
Oh, Lord. So anyways, I don't see any more comments coming in. Is there anything else? Maybe let me end with this because I really want to talk a little bit more about like mindset. What advice would you give to people who want to start a retail arbitrage business in terms of mindset? We're not talking strategy of analyze this and scan this and use this app and look for that and manage your money this way. What's the psychology that you recommend that you've learned over the years works best when it comes to, starting and scaling and succeeding with a retail arbitrage business? I feel like there's crazy comments coming up. Focus, Jameson, focus.
Oh, shit.
Do you want me to repeat the question?
Please, that totally threw me off.
What's the mindset that you'd recommend people have when having success with retail arbitrage? What's like the biggest, outside of just the strategy, what's the mindset that you need to have to succeed with retail arbitrage?
I mean, for myself, I'll just speak on like myself, like why I did good and why I liked it is like I had fun with it and I still have fun with it. Like it's still fun to me. There are some annoying things in the business that I don't like at all, but like I have fun. Like I love to shop for products. Like I know you shop with me a lot. Like we'll go out and like I get super excited like a kid. I get giddy as hell when I find a rare product or a game, and I still feel that buzz and that high, that excitement. And so it's like, just have fun, like have fun with it. Like it's cool. It's fun to do. I enjoy it. So
have you ever gone out with Resell Rabbit doing resale arbitrage? He's another fun one. He has a good time.
Yeah. That's actually kind of how I started traveling the country. He came to Nashville. We'd met in the green. Actually, we hadn't even met. We talked in the green room, and he was on a road trip. He used to do thrift stores. He didn't do RA, and he was coming through Nashville. And I was like, "Hey, you can come stay the night at my house." And like he spent the night. We went shopping and stuff like that. And we became friends. And then he ended up moving to Nashville right at that time too. He decided to stay there, and he moved, down the street from me. And we hung out. We would go sourcing and hang out. And then so that's kind of how I got started doing the traveling around the country. And then when I lived in Minnesota, I drove to see him once. Like I stayed at his house and we went shopping. We did RA till like 4 a.m. I remember I passed out in his front sleep. I passed out in his front seat, and we had a good time. It was fun. We had fun.
He's a good guy. He hustles really, really hard.
Yeah, he does.
His YouTube channel's blown up lately. He's killing it.
Yeah.
So appreciate you coming on. Where can people find you if they want to reach out to you, or if they want to connect, or just follow your journey? What's the best place for people to follow you?
Instagram and Facebook is where that's all I use pretty much. And then it's just my name, Jamison Philippi.
Cool.
Yeah, that's it.
Awesome. Well, appreciate you dropping a bunch of knowledge, and hopefully everybody found value in this video. If you did enjoy this video, do us a big favor and smash that like button. We've got Katie Morgan in the house.
Katie, how you living? How you feeling?
She loves you. She's awesome.
I love you too. Yeah, she's amazing.
She's doing a great job with the books as well. She's really been just another fine example of somebody who doesn't just learn and watch the videos, but actually goes out there and applies it. So
yeah.
Big shout out to Katie. Thank you so much, Jason Clark, for stopping by. Grateful to have you here. We got Jennifer saying good question. Thanks, Jennifer. We got BBF coming in, crushing it with the comments. Love the thumbnail right there. Resell University, thank you for keeping things very, very interesting during this. I feel like this required second account.
For real.
Mr. Exquisite, thank you so much. And Jamison, I appreciate you coming on and
Thank you, sharing. Love you, R1.
Sharing your transparency and your honesty and your struggles and your ups and downs. And much love. Hopefully we get you on another time. And with that being said, stay safe, everybody. Have an amazing day.
Keep it real.
Peace.
Peace.